All right, continuing off the last video. You got to get more selfish. You can't give to others when you have nothing. Again, the same thing when it comes to money. So many of you financially help others because they might be in a worse situation than you. However, by helping them, you're putting yourself in a bad situation. And I get, you think, but I'm helping somebody. Yes, but not in a way that would be more beneficial if you help yourself first. Because maybe while you're doing this, you're helping one person and you're struggling to help them because you're putting yourself in a bad situation, and at some point you will not be able to continue to help them because of the situation you put yourself in. The better route would be to do what you need to do to get yourself where you want to be, and then give to others, because then you will have more to give. It will come from a place of love and abundance versus a place of lack. Okay? We can't control other people. We can't make others see things the way that we see it. Now, I have a very open mind. I love seeing different perspectives. I'm very good at seeing different perspectives. I can understand why somebody does the things that they do almost no matter what the situation. I get it. I understand it. I can empathize. I always forget which one it is. I'm not sympathetic to most people, but I can empathize with them. I hope I worded that correctly. A lot of people I have no sympathy for because you did that to yourself. But I understand why you did it. I understand how you're feeling. I understand what led you to this point. But do I feel sorry for you? Not necessarily. And same when it comes to myself. I went through some not great things that I realize now that I put myself in those situations. I did that to myself. Did it suck? Yes. Do I feel sorry for myself right now? No. Because I'm in a great place right now, right? So when other people are going through it, I'm not going to obviously sit there and tell you to your face like, oh, I don't feel sorry for you. Sympathy and empathy are two different things, okay? So we're not going to get into the sympathy side of things, because what people need in that case is somebody who understands, somebody that can help them see it from a different perspective and guide them through it. Not somebody who's just going to say, oh yeah, that sucks, I'm sorry. What does that do for them? Oh, sorry that happened to you. What does that do, you know? Or when people say something like, oh, you'll get it next time, it's okay, keep your head up. But they don't really offer you any really good way to actually get out of it. So you just end up in the same situation again. And again and again. Because you're just surrounded with people who are telling you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. And I get it. We want to hear what we want to hear. Nobody wants to hear it's your fault your life is like this. Who wants to hear that? Okay, I mean, I'm sure there are some people who do, because there's two sides to this as well. Some people get frustrated and upset because it's their responsibility. Your life is the way it is because of you. no one else. And that's frustrating because a lot of us probably already know that. But we don't know how to switch it. How to get from where we are to where we want to be, we don't know. No one's taught us. No one's told us. We forgot it because when we came here, we knew what we needed to do. Yet everybody else influenced us to go a different way. So that's frustrating when you know that it's your responsibility, it's your fault. And if you have a closed mind, it's going to be even more frustrating because you're going to not believe it, because you don't want to, because it's easier to blame somebody else for the life that you're living. But when you're able to flip it to this other side and say, this is liberating, because now, right now, since I know this, I'm going to change it from here on out. You have the power starting right now to adjust these things, to pave your way for the future, to get you back on that path that you want to be on, that everybody wants to be on, but maybe you're 173 miles away from it. Wow, you got a long walk to get on that path, right? But maybe in a month, instead of being 173, whatever number I said, miles away, you're only 10 miles away. Or maybe you're already there. You can make these changes immediately, but you have to keep working on it, because you might be here and then a thought takes you here, but then you're like, oh shoot, I'm off the path, and you bring it back, but then another thought comes, and then you're like, oh shoot. But it's better to be here, really close, almost right up on it, and you're really working on it, and you're getting there, and occasionally you touch it and you touch it and you get better and you get better, and then soon you're just smacking it, then to be all the way over here. Okay? But those of you who say, I can't do it, I'm never going to do it, we can't change, I'm destined to be this way, whatever, you're always going to be stuck over here. That path is never just going to bring you back here. You have to make an effort to get back over here, okay? And some of you, it's a nice, smooth ride back. Some of you, there's trenches you gotta get over, there's water you gotta swim through, there's cliffs you gotta jump off of. And in this case, we're talking about your mindset, your beliefs, your thoughts, your all of that. Some of us, it's not as much of a struggle as others. But you can begin making this change immediately. And feel the difference, and notice the difference, and see the difference immediately. It's not something that I'm just going to leave that out. So when we get so wrapped up in everybody else's lives and in the negativity and in everything, maybe we can't even see our path, right? Our inner being is probably screaming at us. But like they say all the time, they always use this analogy, like, your inner being speaks Chinese, but you're speaking English. How do you get from speaking English to speaking Chinese? Well, because our inner being offers us emotional responses. Like I said earlier, if you're faced with decisions, one of them makes you feel good and one of them doesn't, choose the one that makes you feel good. some of you struggle because you go to pick the one that feels good, yet you're like, oh, but if I do that, people are gonna think I'm selfish. Okay, but do you think that you're selfish if you make that decision? Because you can't worry about what everybody else thinks about you, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The only opinion that ever matters is the one you got of yourself. Because if you feel good and you feel confident and you love yourself and you're strong in who you are and everything, then nobody else can change that. The only person that can change that is you. So all this crap you hear on the outside, stop thinking about it. Stop letting that affect you. The moment it comes in, just spit it right out. Don't hold on to it. Don't keep it there. Don't chew on it for a little bit just to, yucky. Don't want that. But the longer you sit there and you chew on it, and you chew on it, and you chew on it, the next thing you know, you choke because it's too much. When if you just spit it out in the beginning, you don't have to worry about choking anymore because it's gone. It's going to take some practice, okay? It's something that you can see the benefits of it immediately, but it's not a one and done thing. You're going to have to constantly be adjusting those thoughts and stuff until they no longer become a problem. You no longer give them that extra thought, okay? The thoughts are just that. The thoughts hold no emotion, no charge. They are not positive or negative. You put that emotion into them. Like people say all the time, words are words. They have no power. The only time they have power is when you give it to them. The struggle is when somebody else says something to us that is negative, that we deem as negative. A reason we deem it as something negative is because we are not yet strong and confident in who we are. We don't know who we are. So you have to have that first. That is step number one. You have to have all of that on your own first. Because then when somebody else says that to you, you go, no, I know that's not true. Because I know who I am. I know how I feel about myself. I know that I love myself. I know that I'm beautiful. I'm smart. I'm this. I'm that. All these positive things, right? So when they say something to you, there's no emotion attached to it. And you just watch it walk by and that's it. And as soon as it leaves your eyesight, it's gone. You're done, okay? And like people say all the time, that from them is a projection of their own, how they feel about themselves, right? So understand that it's not a you problem in a sense. It's a them problem, but it becomes a you problem when you attach that emotion to it and think about it and get down about it and discuss it with others, and then that's all you're thinking about. And then you wonder why you can't get out of this weird funk of how you feel about yourself and how things are happening. That's why you let that come in and affect you when you shouldn't have. So yes, those things start off as a them problem. It can stay a them problem, but you need a, what do they call that, stiff arm it, keep it away. But the moment you let that work its way inside and wedge its little self in there, it's a you problem. And you gotta get rid of it. You have to get rid of it. It's just, again, they can't make you feel that way. You are allowing and choosing to feel that way. And again, I get it. It's difficult. Because who thinks happy thoughts when somebody says something negative? It's not what I'm telling you to do. I'm not asking you to think positive, happy thoughts when people are saying negative things. I'm asking you to just let it walk and keep walking. Just let it go. Kind of like when you're having interactions, with other people, and you learn what triggers the other person and what doesn't. So if you wish to not have an altercation, yet the other person is going, and you know it's something that's going to bother you, but you know that your best course of action is to not say anything back. Because again, that right there is a them problem. They're having the problem right now, you are not. The moment you enter into that, the moment you let all that out, all that negativity out that you're thinking, that you want to say, and all these things, and you're not going to hold yourself back, then it becomes a you problem, not a them problem. Because you let them wedge their little way in there, and you are not strong enough yet to kick them out or to seal off that entrance. I'm telling you, you gotta do maintenance work. You don't just build this thing and it's there and it's magnificent and it's beautiful, but maybe an earthquake comes and it starts cracking just a little bit. It ain't broken, but it's cracking a little bit, right? So that's allowing other people to wedge themselves into those little cracks. You can't ignore the cracks. You better seal that right up. When somebody else is getting to you, that is letting you know that you haven't done all the work. Because it shouldn't bother you. It really shouldn't. But when it does, you have some work to do. That is telling you right then and there, you are not where you need to be. Because they can't do it for you. They can't make you feel that way. You have to feel it. You have to. They can't force you to feel these emotions. So some of you who let your emotions get out of control, then you have some work to do. And you might have a little more work to do than somebody who their emotions are quite stable, but they veer off every now and then. Somebody who's emotionally out of control, you've got a lot to work on, but you can do it. You gotta stick with it, because people are gonna shatter that thing you built. When your emotions are so out of control, that's usually a better analogy there. So some people, they just got some little cracks because there was a tiny little earthquake. But you have this amazing vase, whatever you want to call it, beautifully built, and you're good. And then all of a sudden, a teeny tiny little pebble like this big rolls and barely just taps your vase, and boom, the whole thing crumbles. We don't want that, okay? When your emotions are so extreme like that, that's when it's even more important to be mindful, to be aware of who you're around, aware of what you're listening to, what you're seeing, what you're hearing, because when things affect you in such a massive, dramatic way like that, you need to get away from whatever it is that is causing that. Not saying that other things are making you like, but whatever is causing that, you need to get the heck away from it. You gotta get away. I don't care if it's your mom, your dad, your job, a teacher. Get away from it, because it's going to keep just shattering it over and over and over, and you won't have any time to be able to work on putting it back together while you're continually in an environment that's crashing it down. Which I know for some of you is difficult to get out of that environment, but you have to. Okay. I don't know if I want to make a part 3 or just end it right here. I'm gonna make a part 3, but this one's gonna be quicker. So I will see you guys in the next one.